Now, there's research out today which suggests that Christmas is becoming a lonelier time for some in the UK. A new study says the number of people spending Christmas alone has doubled since 1969, the rise apparently being driven by younger rather than older people. Professor Bobby Duffy led the research at King's College London.
We're just much more likely to live alone now. So single-person households have gone from just 11% in the 1960s to about 30% now. So that's a huge change in how we live. And then for young people themselves, it's probably also related to changes in family structures, where we've seen a near doubling of only child families in the last 40 years. So we've got less of that extended family to draw on.
Well, let's speak to Sasha Hill now, who has experienced loneliness herself and turned to volunteering at Cariad Pet Therapy. Hi, Sasha.
Good morning, guys.
Morning. Tell us what Christmas has been like for you in recent years.
So Christmas for me is quite quiet. I am one of the smaller families. There's only me and my mum really at Christmas time. So yeah, it can be quiet. And mum's not a Christmas lover, so that doesn't help. And just like, for example, this year she hasn't been very well. So it's probably the least Christmassy I've felt in a long, long time, unfortunately.
Is it quite difficult when you're surrounded then by the kind of the noise and the imagery of happy Christmases?
Oh, definitely. And I think social media has a massive part to play in that now. I think most of us spend a lot of time obviously on our phones, and it can probably emphasise that fact. Hence why I sort of tend to keep myself as busy as possible on the volunteering side.
Yeah. So tell us about that. Tell us about Cariad Pet Therapy.
So Cariad Pet Therapy, they supply a range of therapy dogs into different situations. So, for example, it could be a healthcare situation as hospitals or care homes, but also educational settings and even then into people's homes as well. So people who may be elderly and lonely, who may just want that little bit of extra support around the Christmas time.
And for you, it's all about your dog, Raya, isn't it?
Definitely. She was the reason why I started it, really. She loves meeting new people. And that's the important thing as well. The dog has to be a natural almost at meeting new people and want to do it, because obviously we want the engagement to be as natural as it possible. So that was the sort of reason. But then actually in doing the visits myself and seeing the bond that some people create in such a short time, it gives you so much back as a handler as well.
Dogs are brilliant for that, because all those social anxieties that we experience when meeting new people and trying to make new connections can be really overwhelming. But dogs don't care, do they?
I always say this, we try so hard as humans, don't we, to be liked, but dogs do it so naturally, and if I'm out with Raya, I don't get a look in, I'll be honest, she gets all the attention, and that's not a bad thing, because I can see she brings joy to people, so I sort of, it's a trade-off, I guess, but yeah, the connections, we have people who are obviously spending Christmas in hospital, receiving long-term care, and they may actually have pets at home, but they wouldn't have seen them for months on end. So actually having a visit from a dog can be massive. It can be really uplifting at this time of year. And dogs, it's been proven, as well. Obviously, there's a lot of studies more recently, but being around a dog will help lower your blood pressure, and it just releases all those feel-good hormones.
So talk us through your Christmas day then with Raya.
It'll be fairly quiet this year. So we're not actually out and about this year. So it'll be just at home with mum. Probably not a lot different, to be fair, to a normal day. We sort of don't go too crazy on the food side of things and bits and pieces, but it should be quite a quiet Christmas for us, hopefully.
Yeah. And then you're out volunteering when? Today, through the Christmas period? Or do you have a bit of a break? There
will be people out all over Christmas. So Cariad Pet Therapy actually have 90 volunteers altogether. So 90 volunteers, 90 dogs. So you can imagine it's quite a big impact that can be done over the Christmas period and into the new year as well. Because obviously, I think it carries on, doesn't it? January, February, March. Yeah. Because of the weather, it can sort of linger a little bit. So
I mean, January's awful. Yeah, you're quite right. So Christmas can feel sort of particularly isolating, but actually that grimness can really carry through those early months. So if you wanted to put a message out there to anyone listening who feels kind of particularly isolated and perhaps quite socially nervous about trying to get out and sort of make new connections, what advice would you give?
I think just be kind to yourself. Take one day at a time. And, even if it's something as simple as just going for a walk in the local park, especially dogs are fantastic at creating connections. They do it naturally. If you see someone with a dog, ask them, can I pet your dog? And you'd be amazed actually, just whilst that interaction is going on, how much conversation is struck up. And I think we think about connections have to be really deep and meaningful over Christmas, don't they? But actually, sometimes a 5-minute conversation with a neighbour, a friend, can have quite a big impact. So little steps, and just try and sort of get through it. Even if you break the day down hour by hour and think, well, we've got through 12 hours. If it's a difficult time, just be kind to yourself and little steps.
This is amazing advice. And actually, I noticed in your notes you say that you spent 20 minutes talking to the Amazon driver. And I was thinking back to, there was a time in my life when I was quite isolated, first job, didn't know lots of people. I used to go to the shops and talk to the people stacking the shelves. But, that was fine.
Yeah. It's simple interactions,
you just need those
isn't it?
human-to-human, moments, exactly.
Definitely. I think I find struggle with Christmas. Obviously, shops are shut. And that it's obviously quite a big thing, isn't it? Like say, we very often, and I think a lot of us do that actually, what you just said. I think it is quite a good idea. But like say, there will be people out on Christmas Day. There'll be people trying to escape families, no doubt.
Yes, that's true.
And they'll be glad to bump into a stranger, I'm sure.
Thank you so much for talking to us. And I wish your mum all the best as well. I hope she stays well. And amazing work that you do with Cariad Pet Therapy.
Thank you very much, guys. And have a lovely Christmas.
You too. Take care.
Take care.
Sasha Hill. Who, as she says, has a quite a small, quiet Christmas, but her dog Raya really sort of helps her through and assists in her work with Cariad Pet Therapy.